It's time for Alfred's Walk of the Week. Today, John Jordan takes us on a stroll packed with stunning scenery and plenty of history, all within a short 8-mile drive from Shaftesbury. We're heading to Mere.
The walk I shall take you on is locally called the Great Bottom Walk. The walk usually starts at the Clock Tower, and that's in the centre of Mere. This is situated between the two free car parks in the town. The Clock Tower was donated by the Prince of Wales in 1868 to replace the market house that was the centre of town. This is a circular walk, mostly around Great Bottom, which is a large chalk escarpment north of the town. The walk is a bit over 4 miles in length, with a climb of just over 400 feet, or 7 kilometres and 271 metres. Today I will walk it in an anti-clockwise direction, so I'll be starting along Salisbury Road. Much of the buildings along this road used to be shops and are mainly constructed of the local stone. There are one or two exceptional buildings. There's the lecture hall, which was a temperance hall, and there's Dawes House, which has been here for quite a few hundred years and is quite grand in comparison to the typical rubble-built, as they're described, local houses. I've turned left into Upper Water Street to walk along the side of the Shreen. This quiet chalk stream is not far from its source in Great Bottom itself. It flows on from here to join the Ashfield Water at Mere Fish Farm in the town, and then on to become part of the River Stour. You may see trout who have escaped, but will definitely see watercress. Again, escapees from watercress beds from many years ago. This chalk stream does provide super clear water and is also a home to many ducks. There's a varied collection of bridges over the Shreen. Some of them are private bridges and some of them are parts of the rights of way. There are 3 of those which cross the river from the other side. These used to be called drains. At the end of the riverside path, I'm going to turn right over the footbridge and into Old Hollow. Some, locally, think that Old Hollow was, before 1800, the main route into Mere. It's an argument that is supported by the house behind us, which was the Green Dragon Inn. At the end of Old Hollow, we'll go left again, leaving the town, and under the 303, and then left immediately on the following track. Busy roads are not generally liked by walkers, but this, the Mere Bypass, which was opened in 1975, has provided welcome relief to the centre of Mere. Traders, on the other hand, lost out on passing trade. Just the other side of the 303, where I'm stood now, is a large copse of trees, formerly even larger, and was known as Mere Plantation. At the end of the track, we'll go through a kissing gate and turn right to get ourselves into Great Bottom itself. The kissing gate was installed by Mere Footpath Group. That's a group of local volunteers who maintain and try to improve the rights of way in Mere Parish. The kissing gate was paid for by donations, very much thanks to those people who did. Having turned right after the kissing gate, we will then go along and over a stile to start to climb up and onto the downs. With my head down for the ascent, I have, on one occasion in the summer, seen bee orchids. They live up to their name in appearance. They definitely look like bees, but unfortunately, in this country, we don't have the right sort of bees to pollinate them, so they are self-pollinating. It's worth a stop on the way up, particularly here where a covered reservoir is on the right, to catch your breath, as you can hear. This is a chance to enjoy the good view behind you. To the south, you can see Mere, the Castle Hill, and Long Hill next to it, and further away, Duncliffe. On a clear day, I'm told you can see Bullbarrow. Castle Hill, which is directly in front of you and has a war memorial and a flagpost on it to recognise it, earns its name because it did have a castle on the top. In the 12th century, Henry III gave the Earl Richard permission to build a castle here, and he did so with some style. It was over 300 feet long, 100 feet wide. It covered the whole of the top of the hill. The castle had 6 round towers and thick Norman-style walls with slit windows. It was built for the defence of Wessex, but never ever saw military action. The Earl, being an Earl, spent most of his time elsewhere, but Mere Castle proved useful for confining important prisoners. During the Scottish Wars, the Abbot of Scone was kept in chains in the castle. Later, when Edmund became the Earl of Cornwall, he kept his estranged wife, Countess Margaret, in one of the towers. It became known as the Countess Tower. But by 1398, Mere Castle had outlived its usefulness, and the lead was stripped from its roof to be used elsewhere, and the castle fell into ruin. The houses of Mere are generally made of that grey stone from the local quarry, but Better quality green chill-mark stone can be seen in places and is believed to have been part of the castle. At the top of the climb, we'll pass through a gate. There used to be a stile here which afforded a better view from the top step, but if you look to the right and away from Great Bottom, you can see into Chetcombe Bottom, which has lynchets. These terraces, which run along the hillside and in the other bottoms around here, apart from Great Bottom, are thought to have been created in Iron Age times, perhaps for agricultural use, or perhaps by agricultural use as they ploughed the side of the field. I've walked for a minute or two along the path on the edge of Great Bottom, and I'll just point out on this bend here that there are a few what we call foxholes right next to the path. Local geologists tell me that Great Bottom is one of the largest chalk escarpments in Europe. It was used for many years in the 20th century as a shooting range for the armed forces, but now it's much more sedate. There are crops of wheat, barley, sometimes oilseed rape. At times, the sides of Great Bottom are grazed by cattle as well. The walk here is fairly level, but it can be very windy in comparison to being down in Mere. At the end of the path we come to a new gate, and we will turn left onto a track. This Ridgeway track is an ancient drover's road from pre-Roman times. It was a major route from Salisbury to the west and remained the main road until 1756, when the new Wincanton Turnpike was established and took the road down and into and through Mere. Partway along we will come to an 18th century milestone, which gives the distance to Sarum 22 miles and to London 100 miles. If we look to the north, in other words away from Great Bottom, you can see over towards the Deverells. On a Sunday you can sometimes make out the windsock that's at the end of the runway that the Glider Club use. As we walk along the track, we'll come to another set of gates on the left. We're going to go through here to return to the edge of Great Bottom. The gate is also used by a paragliding group who can regularly be seen using the currents of air coming up from the bottom to launch themselves and get up to dizzying heights. They call it Coward's Bottom. It's because the family who have farmed this area are the Coward family. On the left is one of the many burial mounds or Bronze Age barrows in the area. These date from around 4,000 years ago. The path takes you past a stone bench put here by the original Mere Footpath group. This group was founded some 50 years ago to keep things clear for walkers. As well as the marvellous views in front of you, the descent down to the fields is busy with things to see. You can see the Iron Age hill fort on White Sheet Hill with its circular fortifications and cross dykes. Mostly you can see the outside fortification that runs around the rim of the hill, and to the right hand side of it you can see two, to most people they'd be called ditches, but those are cross dykes dug in the Iron Age either to protect or to provide a place to grow crops. It's called a fort, but the fortifications are not very high, so this may be better described as a camp, perhaps the site of seasonal ritual meetings or just simply for primitive agriculture. The track has taken Great Bottom out of view for a short while, but that doesn't stop us from looking over to the right. You'll be able to see Alfred's Tower, a folly, on the horizon line, and closer towards us you should be able to see Stourhead House quite clearly. As soon as you get to the point where you can see Great Bottom again, it's worth going over to the edge and looking back into the bottom. You'll see the warning sign telling walkers to beware about the shooting range. It used to be that locals were paid to sit up here and warn the firing groups that there were walkers on the hill. As you walk along the ridge here, please don't follow the track that suddenly drops down to the right hand side. Stay on the track that stays on the top of the ridge. They both will end up in the same place, but this is a much more scenic route. As we walk along, a bit more information about Alfred's Tower. It was built in 1722. Henry Hoare of the Hoare family that created Stourhead as we know it now, built it mid-18th century on what was thought to be the place or the site where Alfred the Great rallied the Saxons ready to battle with the Danes. Walkers around here may know it as the start of the Leyland Trail. Further along the ridge, you can see a quiet little copse and some farmland. Well, in World War II, this was the site of an encampment of 20,000 troops. I'm not really a birder, but on today's walk so far, I have seen one red kite. They're fairly numerous in the area. And now, looking up again, a couple of buzzards on the horizon. As we get to the bottom of the ridge, you can see what an excellent place Castle Hill was to build a castle. This is also a very good scene for the walkers on January the 1st. New Year, New Bottom. The walkers, 66 of them this past year, would have arrived here and enjoyed a hot toddy provided by Healthy Mere Walking. What a way to finish an excellent walk on a cold winter's day. At the end of the track, we turn left into Manor Road, which will take us over the 303 and back into town, ending at the clock tower. This walk is one of 6 walks in a pack created by the Mere Footpath Group. It can be bought for a mere £3, excuse the pun, from the Angel Cafe or the Sprout and Flower in the centre of town, or at Mere Library a few yards away up Church Road.
An enjoyable walk you can reach just 8 miles from Shaftesbury, brought to life by John Jordan with this week's Alfred Walk of the Week.